I mean, it's always good when you get a wee nod for one of the world's best players. After that Dundee game, Rangers fans are on a bit of a high. Now, I know it's only Dundee, I've seen a lot of comments saying that, but I entirely disagree. That's the kind of comment you make when you've not actually looked into the game, you've no thought about where we've been before and where we are now. For me, if that's your thought process and you watched that game thinking, fuck it, it's only Dundee, let's not get too excited, let's not go overhyped. Yeah, don't get too excited, the season's far from over, but when you see the contrast between the performance the team put in against Dundee this time compared to the fact that Beale would no doubt have struggled against this Dundee team, somehow you can only really look at that game and take the positives from it. I thought in that game big players turned up for us, the players we were expecting to turn up, but also the fact that the players that we expected to get sat on the bench after a few minutes, they also eventually turned up for us as well. So to be honest, it was a good game all round, and yeah, quite rightfully so, we should get excited about it. I mean, not only that, Ryan Jack managed to get a wee nod for none other than Jude Bellingham for using his iconic celebration after his tap in. I mean, if there's any player in world football right now that you'd want to have a soft spot for our club, it's Jude. Just before I jump into the Hearts preview, I want to say a massive thank you to all of you that have subscribed so far, and also all of you that have went down in the comments and clicked that link and helped us out with the BlueSea channel memberships as well. We're almost at that 1,000 subscriber mark, a massive milestone for us. It might not seem a massive milestone for a lot of people, but for us it's absolutely huge, so we just want to say a massive thank you for that. I mean, let's be honest, Hearts is going to be a tough game regardless of what form we're in. We've seen that from the last game we played against them, and if you're a Rangers fan, you know that no matter what form the opposition's in, every time another team, a smaller team, a team from out with the old firm plays against Rangers, it's always like a cup final. They always have a point to prove. The players absolutely must recognise that, and the older players within the squad must put forward that message to the newer players in the squad, the likes of Danilo, Lammers, Cifuentes. They need to know that no matter who you play, no matter what ground you go to, what it looks like, what capacity it is, everybody's out to beat Rangers. So when Clement came in the door, the biggest job I said that he would have on his hands is taking this squad, putting it together and managing to get decent performances to bring us up to the transfer window where he can eventually make his mark on the starting 11. And in my opinion, I think so far he's built a pretty good foundation for that. He's got a couple of players we didn't expect to fire, and he's managed to get that boost, that drive, that commitment out of players pretty quickly. I mean, yeah, you could also downplay what I just said there by saying, every club has that kind of honeymoon period when new managers come in, and you might be right, but for me, when you see a manager come in, he says what he's going to do, he talks about the standards he want to implement, and then in those first few games, when you see that actually come to fruition, small little aspects of it come to fruition, it puts your mind at ease a little bit. I mean, personally, for example, one player I didn't expect to grasp back a little bit of form was John Lundstram. Obviously, he's never hit the heights he has previously with us in that Europa League run year. That's the John Lundstram that everybody likes to compare the current John Lundstram to. But I really feel like we're starting to see small glimpses of the strengths of that previous John Lundstram. I mean, in the past couple of games, I think his running, his desires all been there. I think his ball recovery's been outstanding. The amount of times he used his physicality to gain back possession whenever we lost it has been second to none. We all know what John Lundstram can bring to the team, and I think the frustrations in the past with the way he's played and the way he played under Beale was that we knew what kind of player was in there. We just weren't seeing it on a weekly basis. So what I want you to do is jump into the comments and let me know if you think that the best on earth is making a comeback under Clement. But I think when you think forward to the Hearts game on Sunday, and I think going forward as well, I do think there's a solid spine of players throughout that team that we can build around and we can rely on. For example, Butland, obviously, Tav, Lundstram, Cantwell, Danilo, I think are some of the players that have looked the most promising through the Clement era so far. I mean, yeah, it's only a couple of games, but as I said before, my opinion, and probably speculation is a better word for it, is that this is the spine of the team that when January comes, we need to supplement. I mean, one of the players I'm most looking forward to see develop is Danilo, and I'm sure a lot of fans are going to agree with that. I mean, let's be honest, compared to Dessers, we're so much more dangerous with Danilo on the pitch, and you might well say, well, Dessers is so bad so far. I mean, he got his goal in the last game against Dundee, but he's been so poor so far that it's not really going to be hard to set a higher bar and get that starting position over him. But out with that, we're seeing a lot of qualities in Danilo that we were hoping to see when we were looking at replacing Morelos. I think when you're a striker for Rangers, I think that flexibility between gambling and dropping back to take part in the link-up play is absolutely massive, and I think we're coming to the realisation that he's starting to do that pretty well. Now obviously the sitters are still there, but in my opinion, if you're eventually finding the net, I don't mind so much. Now obviously the Hearts game is an absolutely massive game, but a lot of fans are probably still expecting us to win it, and I can't stress enough how important I feel like this game is and how important this first competition is, because when you're at a club where the standards of the fans are way up here and you're looking to show consistent progress and development, that first trophy of the season is absolutely crucial, and nobody can tell me otherwise. Now obviously the gap to the top of the table got a bit smaller, and that first piece of silverware has the ability to spur on some momentum to close the rest of the gap. I mean, the confidence that's going to bring going into one of the most crucial and notoriously difficult stages of the season will be absolutely huge. And yet again, I'd absolutely love to see all your guys' opinions on where you think we're at so far right now. Do you think it's a bit of a honeymoon period, or do you agree more with me and say, yeah, we're starting to see a foundation put in, we're starting to see something to build upon, we're starting to see a style of play? Do you think there are key players in that squad that come January we're going to have to try and build around? Obviously a lot of fans will have their group of players that you'd love to see shown the exit door, but other players in there, do you think there's a solid spine for this squad? I can't stress enough, if MD tells you it's only Dundee or it's only Ross County, just remember how badly we'd have struggled with the games before. When we're watching this Rangers team, we need to focus more on the performance, on what we're seeing. If Beale's taught us anything, we need to take what Clement has said and judge him based on what we see on the pitch throughout the game. And the reason I'm in such a good mood about it all is because I can personally see small dribs and drabs of the standards that he's set, of the play style he wants to have, well, up until January, and his ability to spur on and motivate and spark our season going forward. So let me know in the comments what you thought about some of the things I talked about in this video. Remember, as I said earlier on in the video, the BlueSea memberships are an option there. It helps us invest more into the podcast, more into the videos, and bring better quality content to you. The link to that is down in the description alongside our socials, and I'll see you next time.